Welcome to Paulette's Paper Play, and today we have a new release from our friends at Paper Rose in Australia, and this is called Vintage Rose. We've got die cuts, we've got papers, and we're going to have some wonderful projects. In fact, this is one of them. Look at that sparkle. Won't you please come play with us? Well, let me get and show you what's inside these packages. So I'll first begin with the papers. They are 6 by 6. They're double-sided. There are 18 double-sided sheets, and you're going to get 3 of each one. So here's the first. In fact, I'm using that on the first card. That's the back. Got a lot of cutouts on this sheet, and a very pretty background on the other side. We have this and stripe. We've got a kind of ghosted back image and then some stripes, which you can put anyway. And this has got a grid line in the center, and that's on the back. And then more tag cutouts this time, and there's dots on the back. So as I said, you're going to get 16 sheets. Now, the die cuts are embossed, and what they do is that they are raised. And there's 27 in this package, so you're going to get 4 sheets. Just like this, and I'm going to use 7 of them, so there's 20 left, and there's the last one, and they just pop right out. You can just kind of see how these are lifting up. It's exactly what they do. Okay, now let's get into the projects, and this is our first one. And one of the things that I wanted to do is to look at what would complement this color scheme that's throughout the whole paper pad. And I found that copper, I thought, just did a beautiful job. And I think you can see all of that. So this is simply to take this sheet, that was the first one. There's some lines over here, and trim it to fit on our 5" by 6.5" card. So obviously the 6 inches is going to be fine, just need to trim it a bit. And we do want to keep all of that beautiful floral design. Then glued it to my card. And I wanted to keep it really do some fun things with it. So I took our straight line dazzles. Now this is the colorful set because it has the copper in it. And I just took, on these, you get a narrow one and a little bit wider. So I took 5 of the narrow ones, starting at the fold, and just placed them pretty much equidistant. But I did let them span the whole length of the card. Now, I could have trimmed it off to meet exactly where the paper is, but I just elected to do that. And I find that the small scissors just work perfectly for that. They just do a nice job of clipping those. Now the hello, I wanted to use the foil, so I used the Script Greetings dazzles, Script Greetings, not dazzles, cutting dies, and this has got happy, hello, thanks, and love. And I use this onto our transparent double-sided adhesive. Now it comes in a package like this. There are 4 sheets in here. So you really get a lot for your money. And they've got this grid on one side and then they're solid on the other. So I simply took my die, placed it on here, but I cut a piece because obviously this is almost 8 3/4 inches wide. So it's too wide to fit through the machine, but just run it through. And what you will have is this. In fact, let me show you. This is one that I did. When you pull it off of the die, you're going to want to obviously make sure that all the little areas are removed. So just poke those out. So this has got adhesive on both sides. So all I did, in fact, I can do it right here, is you remove the back paper, and that might even come off while it's in the die cutting. As you pull this off of the die and place it like so. Like this is what I did. And actually, I just want to talk for just a moment. This is going to overlap both the artwork and the dazzles. That's perfectly fine. It just does a nice job of kind of integrating everything together. The same thing's going to happen on the inside, which I will show you in a minute. So I'm going to place this down here, and because it's got adhesive on it, it's going to stick. And it's also kind of an advantage with this particular sheet is that it's got lines on it. So that's nice. And just press it down, just like so. Now this kind of looks odd, doesn't it? Then you're going to lift off the top paper like this, and you will have that script attached to your paper. Then we're going to take the fab foil, which is my new favorite, and there's the item number on the back of it, and pull off a piece. I should have had a piece cut for you, shouldn't I? And there we go. Let me trim this off. In fact, I'll use those tiny shears. And, oh, piffle. Come on, don't do that. I'm doing a webisode here, don't mess up. Okay, there we go. You don't want to do this, people. You want to have a piece trimmed out before you get started. Okay, we'll just trim this off. And none of this goes to waste, which is always nice to know. And you want to place this with the colored side up. So just do that. If you need it to go at an angle to make it longer, that's fine. And you're going to rub it to transfer that foil. Now, if you happen to have watched my 2 webisodes on foil frenzy, you're going to see more things that you can do with this. Something I did find out is that I find it's really helpful to take the bone folder and just go over this. Those lines are so thin with the cutting die that it just makes it a little bit easier if you go over it with the bone folder. When you have a wider lines on your die, that isn't necessary, but I find it helps on these words, and I do find that I like using these words. So then all you do is lift this up, and you want to go a little bit just to make sure that everything adhered the way you want it to. So just like that. Now, if you find some areas didn't get foiled, it's so neat because you can just go back and go like this. Done. And it just works like that. Now, it isn't quite true when you use it on this transparent double-sided adhesive, but if you use your dies on the 1 millimeter thick craft foam, you might find it's a little sticky afterwards. If that is true, you'll like what I just brought. Get some baking soda. It's exactly, actually I was going to get baby powder, but when I looked at the ingredients, it said most of it was baking soda, and just rub just a little bit over the top. Again, it's not necessary when you're doing it like this, but if you're using the foam, the double-sided foam, it's thicker, and sometimes you can't get in all the areas with the foil. So that's all you have to do. Super, super easy, and pretty foolproof, I might also share with you. Now let's go to the inside of the card. And so like I said, on the front here, things are overlapping. That's true on the inside. Now all I did was take 3 of the narrow strips of the straight line dazzles, put them there. This is one of the embossed die cuts, and you can see it almost disappears into the card. Almost looks like a rub-on, doesn't it? And then I used another word out of that same set of cutting dies, and thanks. And again, I like the way that it overlaps this, and it also overlaps these. It makes everything connected, both visually and actually. So that's the first card. Okay, now let's go to that sparkling one that I just showed you. Look at that. Wow. Isn't that pretty? Well, this was really fun. In fact, I think I'm going to put it on a white background, just so you can really see that sparkle. This is using our new sequined glitter cardstock. But first, let me show you what else I used out of the set. And this is the side I use. Now, this side has all of those cutouts. I didn't use it here, but I did use this. Now, obviously, because this card is 6.5 inches by 5, you're not going to use the whole 6 inches of the art. So I did take it and turned it this way and then just trimmed it to fit my card. And the directions are down below. Just click on the card, you'll see it. Generally, when I want a nice wide border like this, which is about 1/4 of an inch all the way around, I'm cutting a 1/2 inch. So this is 5 inches, so this is probably 4.5 inches by 6 inches. That makes sense. Now, when you trim this off, keep it because we're going to use it on the inside. Okay, so we've got that. My diamond sparkle, we have black, champagne, gold, silver, something else I think, but it is really, really neat. And I will also tell you it is super easy to die cut. So that's nice. So this, I simply covered my card. Now again, like I said, I was looking for what would match this color combination. Brown I found worked really well. And my decision was, did I want to use the sequin, or did I want to use the suede, or did I want to use brown glitter? Well, I could have used any of them. And as you can see, they're all going to be beautiful with that. But I honestly hadn't used the sequin. So I thought, well, this is a good time. So decided to do that. So I've got it as covering the card, then glued this cut down piece on top. Then I went into this sheet, and I thought it was really interesting with all of those tags. And I'm intrigued by tags recently, so I thought, well, this is a good time to use them. So I cut out 3 for the top. Now notice I did one with a light background, with a medium background, and with a dark background. So I did that quite purposefully. And then I also used my pen knife, my retractable pen knife, to do a hole in the center one because I wanted to do a ribbon or something. And I found with the size of these that jute was my best option. And again, it has lots of colors. I used the brown because that would work. Now to add my messages or my greetings, I use the tiny words and phrases, and these are right there. So hello, thinking of you, you're the best. And there are, in this set, there's black, white, gold, silver, and brown. There are 310 pieces. Now, you probably can't tell, but I used the brown, and that's why I went with that set, because everything is in the brown tones. Now, again, with my overlapping that I had on the first card, I went back to that same die set and used the word love. So, as I said, hello, happy, love, and thanks. And so the word love, I die cut out of the sequin, and that's how I can tell you that it just cut perfectly, beautifully. I did one time through is all it took. There was no finagling with it. It just worked beautifully. Now, to attach that to my card, I use sticky specs. And sticky specs we've had for several years. It's just a great product because it works so perfectly. Now, when you've got thin lines like this, you could apply glue, but sometimes the glue will seep out, especially when these are such fine lines. So you simply, to use the sticky specs, you probably know, but one side is going to be sticky, one side is not. So you just do this. I do not cut this down. I simply leave it the way it is. I take my love and put it down, and then put that backing sheet on top of it, rub it lightly, and then open it back up, pick up my love, and put it on my card. That way it's going to just stick perfectly. There's not going to be anything that's going to bump up. It's just going to work really well. Now with the jute, I did do 2 tiny bows, and I put those on with Zots. And then, as I said, I took one length, folded it in half, threaded the fold through the hole, and then put the tails through that fold, and it worked nicely. So there we do. Now on the inside, okay, so this is the area that I had left, this little part down here, and I thought, well, let's use that. And I like the idea of making a pocket. So when you go to attach this, only put your adhesive on the narrow sides and one long side, the long side at the bottom, obviously, because then you can attach it to your card. So I'm using the paper from the front, and I'm still sticking with my sequin because I like my sequin. And then again, I've got 3 different looks to my tags. So I cut out 3 others. So I've got that light, medium, and dark again. And I know that friend is probably hard to see on the camera, but in person I can see it fine. Life is good, friend, simple joys, and then just because also comes off of the tiny words and phrases. Jute, this time I just folded each piece, put the fold through the hole, and then did the ends through that fold and tightened it. So that now they will come out. Well, no, I think I glued, yeah, I did. I glued them in place so they wouldn't slip out, but they could slip out if you so wished. So that is my second card. Do you like the sparkle? I think it looks really nice. Even though this is kind of a lightly romantic look, I think that the sequin is just a fine punch, and I like the words showing with it too. So that worked out nicely. Okay, next card. This was fun because on the die cuts, you have 2 bicycles. And when I saw that bicycle, even though it's not in the art, it is in the die cuts. And I really wanted to play with that. And I thought, what better way to play with a bicycle than with balloons? Now, that may not be your first thought, but that was my first thought. And I wanted to do something that would kind of explode out. So I went with our trifold surprise card. This has 1 base, 1 piece. It's a base for the card. What people tell me is that they love the fact that this is a solid piece, that it isn't just an outline. Let me show you. There you go. So it is a solid piece, it's scored, and in this case, all you are doing is folding it. So yeah, okay, here's what it looks like. And normally this is the way you do it. However, you can, do it this way. You can do whatever you want because it's your creation, okay? And there are instructions, as always. This is a fabulous folded card die. So all the instructions are always on the package where you're going to hold the die, and it will just tell you how to cut those. Now, what I wanted, again, brown and copper works with these, but kind of a burgundy I thought was beautiful with it. So I went searching for a solid that would have burgundy, and I found Christmas Past. So Christmas Past, let me show you the sheet, has a burgundy on one side and a red on the other. And the red wasn't bad, but I really like the burgundy. So I wanted to make sure that it would work, and voila, it does. So this is my card. Okay, so I did take the stripe. Okay, so I cut this out like this, and then it's flat. Then I took the stripe paper and I put it on the cutting die where it would fit and ran just that part through my die cutting machine. That way I got everything perfectly positioned, and I thought that worked really, really well. If you've never done that, it's super easy, and it just saves you some time and aggravation. Okay, now, so my balloons came from Happy Birthday and Balloons. This pack has 9 birthday greetings, 238 balloon streamers and stars, and there are 8 different colors in here. So you can see, I guess I should open it to show you that. So we've got obviously gold, silver, and red, as you can see, but we also have black, we have blue, we have purple, we have pink, sparkle, and blue, so lots of choices. Now you've got all the balloons on these individual sheets, and then you have another sheet that's got the words. So this is all together for you. You don't have to buy multiples. So I did the balloons first, and I wanted them cascading up this tall piece of my card. And I put down gold, then silver, then red, and then you can do the streamers. In fact, let me show them to you. You've got several choices. You've got some longer ones. You've got bows you can add. You've got some shorter ones that are curly-hued. So whatever you choose. And so I kind of brought them down here. Then I foam taped this die cut on top. This little happy birthday comes from this same sheet, and it's right there. And that just fit perfectly, and I was really happy with that. So my burgundy is showing on the inside, which is what I wanted. And I decided to have the flowers going up because I just thought that really connected with the bicycle and the flowers on the bicycle. So, but when I opened it, I wanted to have a wow. And I thought now there's a heart balloon and an oval and another red one. You can see them all going there. And I thought that was fun. And I loved the Make-A-Wish and the one candle because it's just a big pow. So I really like that this is a fun opening. And of course, it's going to stand up. So that would work nicely. So, okay, so I have browns and copper and burgundy going with these papers. So lots of choices. And if there's one thing we do like, it's choices. Now, when I use this stripe right here, I did have a strip left. So let me show you what I did with that in the next card. And here is the next card. Now, this card has 2 inches cut off of the front. And you can see the papers that I used. Let's see. There is the dot. Remember I talked about the dot. And I did trim it. So again, this is 6.5 inches tall, so this is only 6 inches. And cut the piece to be, this is 3 inches, so it's probably 2.5 inches wide. Again, directions are down below. And I love this die because it is a grapevine wreath. And I really like grapevine wreaths, and it's the only die, well, it's the only die we have that's a grapevine. I don't think there are many out there in the market. So that was nice to have. And when I did it, I used the brown glitter cardstock. So I showed you that earlier when I showed you all the options. So the only brown I didn't use, well, I guess there's a brown Mary, and I didn't use brown suede, but this is the glitter. You can see that, because you can see it on here. And I just love the look of it. So I used, again, the sticky specs to attach that because it's just going to do a really good job. Now, the only trick of using sticky specs here is that the whole piece is not attached. So if you make a mistake, you know, a tiny flaw, and you get some adhesive a little bit further than halfway, I recommend baking soda to go on the back of it. That will take the stickiness out of it, okay? So you're going to have this piece down, and then you're going to attach the left half to the left half side of the card. Now, these are more of the die cuts, and I took ones that were smaller. Remember on this card how large that is? Well, it works perfectly in that long elongated area, but these are shorter, and these kind of curve, so I thought that worked nicely. Then I wanted to get some softness to it, so I went with the brown ribbon. And with the ribbon sets, you get all sorts of in this case, brown. So I've got dots, I've got ginghams, I've got glitter, but I went with the 1/8 inch ribbon. Okay, now for dazzles, when I had all of this done and I had the brown bows, before I move on, let me show you. I did think about putting white bows, but I just thought it looked too white and I really wanted more contrast. So that's why I went with the brown. It also, I thought, went better with the wreath. Okay. When I had it done, so just pretend that that's not there, it didn't look quite finished. So I added another brown, and this is out of our thin line dazzles, but it's the primary set because it has the brown in there. It's got blue, yellow, green, red, black, and brown. and just placed one right there. And notice it is just inside the paper. It is not on the card itself because I wanted that peach color to show. Then Grateful is one of the cutouts that's in the package. So these are foam taped, but I could slip that underneath and attach it. Then I had, let's see, then I'll go to the inside of the card. So again, this is 3 inches, this is 2 inches, and this sheet is the one that has that grid that I was talking about. And it has flowers here. Let's see, let me pull it and show you. Okay, so here's the piece I used, but when I trimmed it to fit, I had a little bit of flowers showing here that looked odd to me. So remember, I had a piece of the stripe left. Aha! So I just glued it to cover up the mistake. Well, it's not a mistake. I just covered up the extra flower. So I just felt that that worked really well. And it's probably a good thing to remember that if you have something that you're not fond of or doesn't quite fit, put something else on top of it. And I don't have any other stripe in this collection on this card, but it all works together because it's from the same paper collection. So that worked. Okay, I did put another thin line over here. Then I had a little tiny bit left over, so I just put it underneath the Grateful. And you can see that as I wiggle it, you can see it. And Jeanette's trying to get the camera closer, but the remote is not cooperating. So we'll just move on. Oh, there you go, she got it. Okay, you can see that. I often do that, partly because why waste a little piece? And I think it just calls a little more attention to it. So you can see the shine on those embossed die cuts. Okay, so back up a little bit, and you can see what I did on the inside. I've got another of the thin line and then another greeting. And it's overlapping one of the cutouts that says Forever and Always. And again, I had a little bit left, so I put that bit of dazzle right there. The only trick in this is to make sure that that is covered up when the card is closed. I also wanted to make sure that it's okay for it to touch, but I didn't want it to overlap very much, so just a little bit. So that is my 4th card. Okay, so I hope you got some good tricks out of that. And to remind you that what we have is the Vintage Rose from Paper Rose, and all of her die cuts, and I mentioned this before, but now it probably makes more sense. There are 27 die cuts in here. I used 7 on these 4 cards, so you've got plenty left. There is a money saver, and to the money saver, I added that sequin, brown sequin cardstock. So that's over there too. So you can get a little bit of a discount when you buy all 3 of them together, or you can buy these separately, whatever you like. If you are watching us on YouTube, I would like to thank you, welcome you, and ask you to head on over to paperwishes.com. We have a webisode every day but Friday. So that's just our way of showing you, not only will we bring product for you, like I said, well, this comes from Australia, but we'll also give you ideas for how to use it. And I think that really sets us apart and just gives you more tools in your creative toolkit. You can comment on these. I'm always interested to know what is your favorite card. So you can scroll down and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. It's down below. And you can leave a comment. You don't have to have made a purchase to leave a comment. And that's what we have now. I want to thank you for joining us very, very much. I hope you enjoy this. I like to tell you why I did things because I think that helps. We're all learning and we're all having fun playing with these creative products, but I think it's sometimes nice to know the whys, and I'm happy to share that with you. Okay, well, thank you for joining me. You know all about the instructions and the money saver and the terrific product. So we'll see you next time.